Ciao, buongiorno or buonasera. Today I'm gonna talk about the San Vito Lo Capo, considering an ultimate guide, all the insider tips I've gathered over my 38 years as a Sicilian. You've probably guessed from my accent that's nowhere British or American, and I'm Sicilian to the core, born right here. This video I'm gonna tell you what to do, what to eat, where to stay, best tips to enjoy the beach, everything you need to know to enjoy San Vito Lo Capo as a local and not as basic tourist. This is the part where I should beg you to subscribe to my channel, like my video. I've started to hate myself and every other jerk out there saying this crap. You know what? Don't do it then, just grab a glass of wine, watch this video for free and then tell me to go screw myself. Alright? Cheers, cominciamo, let's get started. What's the vibe like in San Vito Lo Capo? San Vito Lo Capo is a beach town, but in your average beach town. It looks like I'm straight out of a freaking postcard. Picture white beach, crystal waters, a social span that you could see a mermaid's pedicure, this picturesque little town with narrow alleys full of whitewashed Mediterranean buildings, seafood restaurants all over the place, and this charming, cute local shop selling all sorts of crap that you don't need. This little town is bellissimo. They call it the Caribbean of Europe, and for a reason. For once the hype is real, because the beach here is stunning, absolutely bellissimo, and the lifestyle is kind of Caribbean, is laid back. That's why everybody comes here, for the sun, the sea, and the do absolutely nothing lifestyle. Lifestyle here, think flip-flops, bathing suits, messy hairs, and grandpas all over the place sporting their yesterday's tomato sauce stains like medals of honor. Tourists coming here, all they do is moving their butts from the beach to the restaurant chair to the hotel bed, and hopefully they squeeze in a shower somewhere there. I swear I've seen people stumble out of their hotels in the morning with eye crust intact, head straight for the sea for a shower. So if you're looking for a place where sea, sun, food, wine, and maybe if you're feeling wild, changing your underwear are the highlights of your day, then San Vito Lo Capo is calling your name. What to do in San Vito Lo Capo? Vito Lo Capo is a beach town, so of course going to the beach is the local sport. But people here don't simply get it, and they undergo a full-on metamorphosis, transformation. They show up in the morning as white as a baby's butt, and they leave at night that looks like they got lost in a coal mine. Now, an important thing you need to know about the beach. 70% of the beach is private, with these beach clubs, we call them Lidos, renting out a spot with umbrellas and sunchairs, and it costs about 30 bucks. I know, it's expensive, but I've traveled a lot and paid way more for crappy things. But at least you can access their services like showers and bathrooms, so you can skip that being in the ocean and praying nobody notices dance. If you are too cheap for the private beach, you can head to the public one. Just know that during the peak season, finding a spot to lay down your towel is as likely as finding an Italian not waving his hands as when they talk. You can either pull off a German move and wake up before the roosters to snag a spot, or you can get comfortable with Uncle Nunzio breathing down your neck all day. The second thing that you gotta do here in San Vito Lo Capo is a boat tour. San Vito's got this bellissimo, stunning coastline that looks like straight out of one of these Corona beer commercials. Hidden coves and caves, natural pools, and you can get to these places only by boat, unless you are Aquaman or you've got that Jesus trick down and you can walk on water. Don't worry, cause tours don't cost an arm and a leg, they are pretty affordable. The absolute must do is one that takes you snorkeling at the Zingaro Reserve and Scopello. These places are out of the world. Bellissimi, natural pools and even his bodies and all the underwater wonders you can imagine. Don't skip this tour cause you're gonna regret it. In the description you can find the link to this tour. And the third thing you can do in San Vito Lo Capo is hiking, unless you are like my buddy Ciccio. Once I asked him to go hiking with me in San Vito Lo Capo, he looked at me, he grabbed his belly and he said, "Do you know how much I've invested in this belly? Do you want to ruin my life's work?" But if you're not like my buddy Ciccio, go to that single reserve. By the way, way, yes, it's the same place I mentioned before. You can also get there by boat, and you can also explore the trails inland, and if you have got the green thumb, you are gonna love it. Plants, trees, and so on and so forth. It's bellissimo. What to do, culturally speaking, in San Vito Lo Capo? Don't run away, we are not the typical eat, drink, and bang barbarians, right? When we travel, we want to also fill our heads with some culture, right? I see a nod, good on you. And there are just two places you should check out, and it's just a quick peek. But let me give you some context and the story behind these places so you know where you are going. San Vito Lo Capo is named after a saint and not a rocket scientist, as you probably may have guessed. Idus was born 1600 years ago in Sicily, in a little village called Mazzara del Vallo, close to the actual San Vito Lo Capo, when Sicily was under the Roman Empire, ruled by a dude called Diocletian, who wasn't a bitch, wasn't a teddy bear, was the type of emperor who didn't put up with any crap. You couldn't wake up in the morning and shout the first nonsense that came to your mind, like the earth is flat. No, it would have your head on a platter. And it was especially pissed that Jesus Christ followers and this love thy neighbor thing, peace and love, he didn't like. He considered this crap. And the little Vitus, who had lost his mom right after having him, was raised by his nanny Crescentia and his tutor Modestus on a steady diet of bread, rosary beads, and Bible stories. When the other kids played hide and seek, Vitus was reading the Bible and trying to pull off miracles. He kept at it day out until the guy started multiplying fish and turning water into wine like it was a happy hour. When Crescentia and Modestus saw this, they threw their heads up in the air. They were like, oh my god, if the emperor sees this, we are screwed. So they took Vitus around southern Italy to keep the emperor off their trail, until they ended up here in San Vito Lo Capo, back then had another name, and Vitus became the local Houdini, firing up crowds with his miracles. And one day, Diocletian found out where they were hiding, so he got them, threw them to the lions, and sent them to their maker. A while later, a lot of pilgrims arrived in San Vito Lo Capo to honor Vitus, and they built a church that still stands today. You gotta check out this church, takes just 10 minutes, it looks like a fortress, because it was also used against pirate attacks. To make sure you don't miss anything, there is also this little chapel at the entrance of San Vito Lo Capo. It's dedicated to his nanny Crescentia. It looks like a little bit lonely sitting out there in the middle of nowhere, but it's worth stopping for a quick pic. Takes only 30 seconds. If you happen to be at San Vito Lo Capo on June 15th, just know that it's Saint Vitus Day. They throw a big party, it's like Super Bowl, but instead of cheering for football players, they cheer for statues of Saint Vitus and his pals. What to eat in San Vito Lo Capo? Now, it's still Sicilian cuisine, so there are a million of recipes that are common across the entire island. I'm not gonna get into it. Instead, I wanna tell you about 4 specialties that are from San Vito Lo Capo that you gotta check out because they are buonissimi. The first one is couscous. Now, I know what you're thinking, Nico, you gotta be kidding me. This is an Arab, North African dish, not a Sicilian dish. That's true, but it's also typical here, and there is an explanation for that. Back in the day, in the 1600s, a lot of people from San Vito Lo Capo emigrated to Tunisia, North Africa, to get a job. When they came back, they brought a wife, 7 kids each, and couscous. When the locals in San Vito saw it, they fell in love, they replaced vegetables with seafood and made it a local dish. They are so in love with their couscous that there is a big event which takes place in September where many chefs coming from all around the world make their version of couscous, and the best one wins. The second thing you gotta try is caldo freddo. This is the local gelato ice cream. This is a terracotta packet that has at the bottom this rum-soaked sponge cake, then you put your favorite ice cream on top, and then it's all covered with whipped cream and hot melted chocolate. It's a classic thing that foreigners see and they go, oh my god, you Sicilians eat so much, there is no way I can eat all of this. First spoonful and they are licking their cup clean. Some say that this recipe comes from an ice cream shop that was in Trapani, a city close to San Vito Lo Capo, in a place that that was wiped off by Hitler's bombs, while some others say that a guy from San Vito Lo Capo opened an ice cream shop in the US and he added a whipped cream and hot melted chocolate because Americans wanted their gelato on steroids. I guess that we'll never know the story, but try it because it's really good. Numero 3 thing you gotta try is pusiate pasta. Sicily, in Italy in general, we have many different types of pasta, and pusiate is specifically from this area, San Vito. It's this fresh handmade spiral-shaped pasta crafted by local nonnas, grandmas, piece by piece with their hands. You should try this pusiate with the local pesto alla trapanese, which is different from the traditional green pesto sauce. This one is red because Sicilians had tomato sauce, and instead of pine nuts, Sicilians use almonds. And numero 4 on your list is tuna, which isn't that crappy mushy stuff coming out of a can. This is the real fish with fin size and the whole thing. Sicily, especially San Vito area, is brimming with red tuna, which is considered like the Kobe beef of the fish world. We have been fishing tuna since the Roman time with a technique called matanza. It sounds like a fancy word, but it was basically a bloodbath. Fishermen would corner the poor tuna inside what they called the camere della morte, death rooms, and then go full-on Viking with harpoons until animal rights fortunately came up and now they use a different technique. Allora, when is the best time to go to San Vito Lo Capo? You already know, beach town, so you go there during the summer when it's sunny and not during the winter when it's cold, right? Unless you've got a secret second family to hide. The beach season kicks off in pretty much May till September, gods and climate change permitting. Big season is July and August when there is more peat and salt in the water. June and September are the best times to go, but don't tell anyone, otherwise they will change their vacation plans. If you're a lone wolf, you can't stand people and the scorching heat, and May and October are the best months. How long should you stay? Now that's a tough question. It's like asking how much gelato you can eat in one sitting. There's no rare answer here. Many people spending just a day here, while some others park their butts on the beach all summer long. Depends on you how many beach sleep cycles you need to recharge your batteries. Personally, I wouldn't stay for less than 2 days. Where to stay in San Vito Lo Capo? I get a lot of questions like, Nico, where do you recommend staying in San Vito Lo Capo? Now, I've got a couple of places where I stay when I go to San Vito Lo Capo. They are listed in the description. Go check it out. But if you want to go on your own and want to find a place yourself, here are a few tips. Number 1, location. Location. San Vito Lo Capo is a small dot on the map with not so many places to stay, unfortunately. And there are many hosts and hotels from the nearby villages that try to fool you by advertising their places like they were in San Vito Lo Capo, when they are actually a 30-minute magic carpet ride away from San Vito. So don't be a sucker and check the map before booking. And number 2, proximity to the beach is crucial. As you have said, San Vito Lo Capo is a beach town, so it's all about the beach. You'll be going back and forth to the beach all the time. And here's the problem. When you arrive in San Vito Lo Capo, you park your car and you'll see it again when you leave. That's because San Vito Lo Capo is all about pedestrian streets close to traffic. So to get around, you gotta walk. During the summer, San Vito is freaking hot. The sun beats down like crazy and walking in the sun ain't fun. As a rule of thumb, the farther you are from the beach, the more you'll be sweating like a pig and cursing like a pirate to get there. So before booking, make sure that the place is not too far from the beach. And numero 3, don't be cheap. Locals here work only 3 months a year. The rest of the year, they twiddle their thumbs, they do absolutely nada, nothing, no business. This means that San Vito Lo Capo is a bit more expensive than Palermo, Catania, Trapani, and the other cities that they work throughout the whole year. And especially the good stuff costs money. The best hotels, the best apartments don't companionship. It's just business when something is scarce and seasonal. Of course, the price goes up. You find inside that it's too cheap compared to the average, might be something off about it. Again, don't be a sucker and always read the reviews before booking. Speaking of money, let me answer a question that I get often. That is, how much does San Vito Lo Capo cost? We already said that it's a seasonal spot, so it might be a little bit pricier than Palermo or Catania, but it's a tough question to answer because it depends on many variables. If you're scraping by or you have got a golden toilet, you have a different perception of expensive, right? And it also depends on where you're coming from. If you come from Manhattan, San Vito Lo Capo might feel like a steal, but if you come from Bulgaria, first menu you see, you get a stroke. Let me give you a few examples. If you stay in a mid-range, not too fancy hotel, you pay about 90 euros per night per guest. For a dinner at a decent restaurant, if you get a seafood main course, an appetizer and some wine, this will set you back about 45-50 euros per person. For a cocktail in a nice bar, you pay about 10 euros for a glass of wine, 7 euros for a beer, it's like 4 or 5 euros. And if you go to a beach club, a Lido, you pay 30 euros for 2 sunchairs and an umbrella. It goes without saying that you can sleep in a doghouse for 10 euros or in a fancy, swanky hotel for 500 per night. Then you can eat prawns dyed in 1945 in the Indian Ocean for 50 cents or top-notch Sicilian prawns for 7 euros a piece. As we say in Sicily, quanto spende mangi, you get what you pay for. Let's talk about transportation. How do you get to San Vito Lo Capo? If you wanna go there from Palermo, you don't want to spend your time on a wild goose chase, then the only and easiest way is with the bus from the company Russo. It lives both from the airport or the city center, and you can grab your ticket online or in one of the places mentioned on their webpage. It takes about an hour and a half or 2 hours depending on where you're starting. Instead, if you can't stand people, you don't want to travel with the commoners, you can opt for a private transfer to get a top-notch car or a van if you are in a group and a 5-star service. In the description you can find a link to a private transfer to receive good reviews from folks. Go check it out if you need that. Instead, if you're coming from Trapani, you gotta get a bus from the AST company. Same deal, you can get tickets online or you gotta find the place that sells them. Get a lot of questions like, Nico, I come from this little town, from this little village, how can I get to San Vito Lo Capo? Listen, if you're coming from smaller towns, you gotta go to Palermo, Trapani first and then go to San Vito Lo Capo from there. In 99% of the time, there are no direct buses from these little villages and towns to San Vito Lo Capo. But how to get around San Vito Lo Capo, we already said that. San Vito Lo Capo is really small, it's a dot on the map, so when you are there, you basically walk. That's it. Don't forget to check out the description for all the important links I mentioned in this video. Enjoy San Vito Lo Capo e grazie mille. Ciao!